And this episode was inspired by an essay and a suggestion from Dr. Mart Ottenheim. That was a dinosaur. It wasn't just any dinosaur. It was an Allosaurus. The Allosaurus stood on two legs and was between 30 to 40 feet long, or 12 meters, from the tip of its tail to its nose. It would have been quite a sight to behold. Fortunately for us, we don't have to deal with them. I can't imagine one of them lumbering by my house. Here, where I live in New Hampshire, lizards aren't very abundant. In fact, they're almost non-existent. We have reptiles, turtles being one of my favorites. I've maneuvered more than one snapping turtle that's wandered onto the road out of harm's way. It's very easy. You just take a stick, wave it in front of its face, and it'll muckle onto it. The thing is, I have often read and heard that we, as human beings, have retained a piece of our reptilian ancestry. It's called our reptilian brain, and it's located... Wait, before I go any further, spoiler alert. We do not have a reptilian brain buried deep inside our own. Sorry, Allosaurus.
There is grandeur in this view of life.
Welcome to Evolution Talk with Rick Coast, an introduction to the oldest story ever told.
I'm an introvert. It's the way I'm wired. Now, because of this, I've done a lot of reading and research in the past about introverts, about dopamine, and also where I get my energy and how it affects me. There's a lot of information out there that's valuable, and well, some that isn't. One bit of information that's always fascinated me, popular in pop psychology, is the idea that we all have, you and I, buried deep within our brains, a literal piece of the past that we share with reptiles. It is in this part, this little piece, our basic instincts are said to reside. Our fight or flight urge, the one that tells us to run or stand our ground, the pop psych books will tell us this comes from that small piece. Our ability to reason, to pause, to contemplate whether we should run or not is unique to us because we've evolved different parts to control our reptilian past. It sort of makes sense. I mean, our brains evolved, right? From a common ancestor that billions of years ago looked a lot like a reptile. So why not still have a piece of that past buried deep within us and then built upon over time by evolution? It served us, right? You see a dark shadow, and you run. But is this true? If I were to stick my head in an MRI, could I locate it? Could I find that piece? Where are the remnants of my reptilian brain? In 1969, Dr. Paul D. MacLean, a neuroscientist and psychiatrist, proposed the Triune Brain model. Now, this model divided the human brain into three distinct layers. There was the reptilian complex, the limbic system, and the neocortex. MacLean's idea was that our brain evolved in layers, and the reptilian complex represented the most primitive part of our brain, responsible for our most basic instincts and drives. Well, that theory now is well over a half a century old, but its influence remains strong. Per MacLean's theory, our reptilian brain consists of our brainstem and cerebellum and controls our vital functions like our heart rates and our body temperatures. It's also said to be home to our survival instincts. It's here, at this point, that hundreds of self-help books have stepped in. They point to our reptilian brain to explain why we react to the things that we do. They tell us it's our reptilian brain that's doing it.
Wild animals are wild animals because they only have a little tiny brain. And that little tiny brain keeps them alive. It's about fear and revenge and reproduction and anger and let's go. And human beings have that same brain. But we evolved to have this other brain in front, the one that does ballet, the one that does big ideas. But that brain is slow compared to our wild animal brain, our lizard brain. The lizard brain is right next to our spinal cord, and it can go like that. And it floods our brain with chemicals instantly. And this brain takes 3 more seconds to catch up. And by the time that happens, it's really difficult for that brain to say, calm down, here's the right answer. You just have to walk down an airplane when they're experiencing turbulence. What we know is planes don't crash because of turbulence. Like people freak because the lizard brain takes over. We're going to die.
That was Seth Godin. Now, I have a lot of respect for Mr. Godin and have read more than one of his books. But is he right? Was Dr. McLean right? Is our reptilian brain still active within us? Is it even there? Or is it just a ghost in the machine of our brain? Well, theories evolve. Neuroscience has evolved. Our understanding of the brain isn't complete, but it's evolved too. New evidence has emerged that challenges the triune brain model's validity. It's essential to understand that the human brainstem is not the same as the reptilian brainstem, and their functions differ as well. While it's true that our brainstem shares some similarities with those of reptiles, it also has unique features that are not found in its reptilian counterpart. For one, our brainstem, the quote-unquote reptilian brain, offers a lot more than survival functions and ancient instincts. It connects to other brain regions, like the limbic system and the neocortex. And these aren't just simple connections either. They're complex and they're associated with higher cognitive functions and also higher emotions. But McLean's theory is attractive. It offers a simplified version of an evolutionary path to what we consider the apex of brain development, our brains. McLean's model starts with the simple reptile brain organ to layers that give rise to different functions and, different cognitive developments. What the triune brain doesn't account for or ignores is our brain's evolution involved numerous changes in brain size, numerous changes in connectivity and function, and these changes can't be accurately captured by dividing the brain into 3 separate layers. Our instincts aren't located in just one area. It's a complex interplay between all of these regions. It's a cacophony of order. How do you like that term? Cacophony of order. And that's what evolution is, isn't it? From the development of our physical features as a species to our behavior. It's all influenced by a combination of genetic, environmental, and social factors, and it's not solely driven by an ancient reptilian part of our brain. Now, outdated theories aside, it's often easy and convenient to simplify a concept in order to communicate it. I do it all the time. It's the point of this show. But it's essential to remember that science is always evolving. New discoveries constantly reshape our understanding of the world. The triune brain model was an early attempt to explain the human brain's complexity, but it's since been overshadowed by more accurate and nuanced models. As our understanding of the brain continues to advance, we must be open to updating our knowledge and embracing new findings that challenge outdated theories. Reducing the complexity of our brain to a single reptilian layer oversimplifies our understanding of the mind and adds to misconceptions about human nature. Uh-oh. The Allosaurus is back. Gotta run. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Evolution Talk. I'm Rick Coast, and if you find value in this show, please consider supporting it at evolutiontalk.com. I'd love to keep the show alive and without ads, and I can only do so with your assistance. Help spread the word and share the show with your friends. At evolutiontalk.com, you'll find more information, recommended books, and also ways to contact me. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope your week is going well, and until next time, please take care of yourself.
Evolution Talk is a Rick Coast production.